There's something you put on this morning without even thinking about it. You reach for them half awake, maybe in the dark, and you put them on the way you have 1,000 mornings before. And it's been with you ever since, touching your skin every single hour, closer to your skin than almost anything else in your whole life. You've gotten careful about so much, and you read the labels on your food now. You swapped out the stuff under your sink. You started checking what's in your lotion and your shampoo because you finally decided your body was worth paying attention to. And this whole time, the things pressed against your skin from the second you wake up until the second you crawl into bed and longer has never once made the list. I didn't have it on my list either. And when I finally figured out what I'd been overlooking, it was a little bit embarrassing. How did I never stop to think about it? So before you get too comfortable, let me ask you something. What if the most ordinary thing you put on every single day, the thing you would never in 100 years suspect, has knowingly been doing something to your body that no one ever bothered to warn you about?
Do you ever wish your day wasn't dictated by your health? Are you tired of being tired all the time, or is pain holding you back from enjoying your time with your family? Would you like to manage your symptoms holistically, but you just don't know where to begin? I am so excited that you're here. This podcast will help you understand how natural remedies work so you can relieve your symptoms and live a fuller life. My name is Penny. I'm an occupational therapist, past pharmaceutical rep, a mom, and a wife with a strong faith, and for 25 years, I battled through debilitating Crohn's disease. I took all the medicine and did all the surgeries that stole so much time with my family, but never truly healed me. I finally realized if I was going to survive this disease, I needed to open my stubborn eyes to alternative solutions. I researched how perfectly our bodies work with plants and a lifestyle that made my health less of a burden to my family and aligned so beautifully with my faith and my medical training. If you are ready to reclaim your life with holistic options that are easy to implement as a busy mom and provide relief that lasts, this is the podcast for you.
Welcome back to Becoming Natural. I am so glad that you are here with me today. I have been working on big projects behind the scenes here at Becoming Natural, so I missed a post and I greatly apologize, but I cannot wait to share the project or projects with you in the future soon. But in the meantime, this episode has almost required 2 weeks to dig into, not only because of the research, but because a little piece of me is dying inside if I start to align my life with what my discoveries were that I made the last couple weeks. So put your coffee down or your tea or whatever is keeping you up right this morning. Let's settle in because we are going somewhere I never expected to go. This is episode 81 and it is synthetic clothing, 5 reasons to worry about your favorite yoga pants. So I'm Penny, and today we're going to talk about synthetic clothing, the leggings, the yoga pants, the athletic wear, the stretchy underwear, the dry fit tops, the wrinkle-free pajamas, and the soft little performance pieces that somehow went from workout gear to our entire daily wardrobe, self-included. And I need you to know I am not coming for you from some linen-only mountain with a basket of hand-wash garments and being judgmental. I live in athletic wear, or our new fancy word, athleisure. I gratefully wear scrubs to work when I go to the hospital a few days a month, and that's actually a pretty reasonable fabric choice for that setting. But most days I work from home. I work out, I play tennis, I want to be comfortable around the house. It is not like I'm dressing up to walk to my home office. My family teases me when I actually dress up because all summer long it's a tennis skirt for me, and all winter long I'm in leggings. We've even found ways these days to, quote, dress up leggings, have we not? And the right sweater, and suddenly we call it an outfit. A few weeks ago, I read something alarming, a few mentions about chemicals in clothing, and I had to face the facts that I had been ignoring for a few years, been hearing these things, but they couldn't be true. I didn't want to know it. I had just finished one of those big pantry cleanouts, feeling very proud of myself, standing there in a full outfit of stretchy synthetic everything. leggings, cozy top, cute little dry fit sweatshirt to match, and I caught my reflection in the window, and this thought dropped into my head. You read the label on your crackers and your shampoo penny, but when was the last time you read the label on the things that you wear on your body all day, every day? The only time I read a clothing label is if it requires special laundering. And even then, let's be serious, that tag is mostly there to tell me whether I'm about to ruin something or not. So I will say it very plainly. This may not be the episode that you want to hear if you love your yoga pants, and I am so very sorry to break your heart. It's going to be a tough pill to swallow for all of us. I say that with all the affection in the world because I am right there with you. They're comfortable, flattering, stretchy, they're forgiving, and they can go from school drop-off to tennis, to the grocery store, to answering emails on the couch without missing a beat. So let's hash this one out together. We're not going to have trash bags full of clothing, I promise. Just some curiosity and some good sense. So the one thing that we have forgotten to question, and the thought that has reframed all of this for me, is that our skin is our largest organ. We say it so often that it starts to sound like a wellness poster, so let me put it another way. Your skin is a living, responsive surface. It reacts, it sweats, it helps regulate the heat. Sunlight causes chemical reactions through your skin. Your immune system pays attention through it. And under the right conditions, some substances can interact with it more than we realize. Your skin is not a sealed brick wall. It is more like a screen door. So think about how careful we become with that screen door. We read the ingredients on something that touches our face for a few hours. We swap body wash that sits on us for maybe 30 seconds in the shower. We worry about what is in our lotion or our sunscreen, our shampoo and deodorant and perfume and all things. And all those questions really matter. But then we put on fitted clothes, snug against some of our most sensitive parts of our body, and we wear them for 16, 17, 24 hours a day. We sleep on sheets for 7 or 8 more. We put underwear against delicate tissue from morning until night. And somehow, for many of us, fabric has never made our list of questions. And that is the first piece that I want to talk about, is the contact time. How much time that fabric is touching our bodies, because a dose of anything is not just what the product is, it's how much, how close, and for how long. So a splash of something in your hands that you rinse off in a minute is one thing. The same substance held against warm skin under pressure hour after hour is a totally different story. And there are not many things in your daily life that score higher on close and long than your clothing, especially the layers that are underneath everything else. There's a word for that sealed-in contact, and it is called occlusion. Occlusion means that the skin is covered in a way that traps that warmth and moisture, and when that happens, the outer barrier of the skin can soften. The local temperature of your body rises, then sweat, friction, any sort of residue that you have on your body or from the clothes, and the microbes all sit there longer on your skin. And doctors even use occlusion on purpose sometimes. If you think about covering something on your skin with medicated cream and then you wrap it so the skin absorbs more of it, we do that with castor oil and castor oil wraps. We're doing a mild accidental version of occlusion all day when we wear the fabrics on our body, and we never meant to. So before we talk about the risk, we need to talk about how we got right here, because synthetic clothing did not take over because women were foolish or careless. It took over because it solved some real problems. For most of human history, clothing came from plants and animals. Linen came from flax, cotton from the cotton plant, wool from sheep, silk from silkworms, leather from animal hide. Fabric was precious. Clothing took work. Laundry took work. Wrinkles were absolutely normal. I want to live in that world. Clothing wore out and had to be mended, patched, handed down, and used very carefully. It wasn't as disposable as it is today. So then the 20th century changed everything. As chemistry advanced and petroleum became central to modern manufacturing, scientists learned how to make fibers from raw materials that had never been clothing before. The first fully synthetic fiber to really change the clothing world was nylon. It was introduced by DuPont, what a surprise, in 1938 and became famous almost immediately through women's stockings, aka hose. Then World War II redirected nylon into parachutes and ropes and tents and military supplies because it was strong, it was lightweight, and it could be made to scale. After the war, nylon came roaring back into civilian life with stockings and slips and lingerie and outerwear. Suddenly, synthetic fabric meant modern, sleek, and exciting. Then enter polyester. Polyester had been developed in the 1940s, but it really surged in the 50s and the 60s as a miracle fabric because it was washable, it dried quickly, it resisted wrinkles, it held the color. It could be mass-produced very cheaply. And by the 60s and 70s, polyester was everywhere. It was in dresses and suits and shirts, pants, uniforms, bedding, and eventually the double knit polyester outfits some of us can only describe as a lot. Acrylic followed as a cheaper, easier substitute for wool. Spandex, also called elastane, was introduced in the late 1950s and changed everything that needed stretch. Underwear, bras, swimsuits, athletic wear, leggings, shapewear, and eventually the entire category we now lovingly call athleisure wear. And I understand why people love it. And I'm going to make a little comment here because I remember hearing an interview with Olivia Newton-John about Grease. We all love Grease, right? And at the end of the show, when Olivia gets all dolled up and she's wearing her hair done and she has on her pants, they did not have spandex then. And she was talking about how they had to literally sew her into those pants that she wore to get them so tight because she couldn't breathe. And it was just talking about how difficult it was for her to wear those pants that we all know looked amazing on her. And now I think, gosh, she could have just slipped on some leggings. They didn't have them then. So this fabric that we're talking about that didn't wrinkle, it dried quickly, it stretched and snapped back, that stayed bright, cost less. It could survive busy family life without being babied. So, of course, it became popular. For perspective, so synthetic fabrics were not marketed as suspicious. They were marketed as freedom, less ironing, less mending, less shrinking, more comfort, more stretch, more color, more performance. And for a lot of uses, they genuinely are useful. Lord have mercy. If it requires ironing, I don't buy it. This is where I want to keep our heads. Synthetic fabric is not worthless. A rain jacket needs to repel rain, so a ski layer needs to manage sweat in cold weather. Scrubs in a hospital need to be durable and washable. Athletic wear during an actual workout can be very practical. But slowly, without most of us noticing, something shifted. We took performance fabrics that were engineered for a 60-minute run or a ski trip or shift at work or a specific job, and then we turned them into our everyday, all-day, sleep in it, live in it, second skin. The fabric did not change. Our relationship to it did. Nobody stood up and asked whether wearing high-performance plastic around the clock, pressed against warm skin in intimate places, was a trade that made sense for the body. So let's talk about these specific fabrics. Brace yourself. A huge amount of what is in your closet right now, whether you think it's athleisure or not, at its heart, it is plastic. Soft, stretchy, comfortable plastic, but plastic all the same. It is in everything that we buy and wear almost. Polyester, nylon, acrylic, and elastane, or spandex, are synthetic fibers made through industrial chemistry, often from petroleum-derived ingredients. Polyester belongs to a plastic family called PET, P-E-T. That is short for polyethylene terephthalate. PET is the same polymer family used to make many clear plastic drink bottles. So you're walking around wearing drink bottles. So the thread of your favorite leggings and the bottle in your recycling bin are not identical objects, obviously, but one is spun into fiber and one is molded into a bottle, but they are close cousins in the chemistry family tree. That does not mean every synthetic garment is dangerous. It does mean we should stop pretending that fabric is automatically gentle just because it feels soft. And the fiber itself is only one part of the story. To turn that raw synthetic thread into finished clothing, manufacturers often have to add dyes or softeners, finishing agents, chemicals that make items wrinkle resistant. They're terrible. Water repellent coatings, stain resistant coatings, anti odor or antimicrobial treatments, and printed logos or designs. Those features can make clothes easier to wear and care for, but they also mean the final garment is more than just fabric alone. It's fiber plus an additional finish, and that finished fabric sits against you. So this is where we need to start learning. So we're going to separate this very carefully. There is meaningful difference between what is well established, what is emerging information, and what is still genuinely uncertain. So we're going to start with what we know clearly. Many synthetic fabrics do not breathe the way that cotton, linen, wool, or silk can breathe, especially when they're tight, layered, or worn while sweating. When fabric traps that heat and moisture against our skin, especially in the warm folds and intimate areas, it creates a tiny little greenhouse. It's warm and damp. It's exactly the environment where odor-causing bacteria and certain yeasts tend to multiply. So for many people, that trapped warmth and moisture can be part of the picture behind recurring irritation and itchiness and chafing and discomfort. And it can also create conditions where certain infections are more likely to linger or continue to return. Your skin has its own microbiome, we've discussed many times, which is a community of organisms that live on the skin and help keep things balanced. That little ecosystem generally does better with airflow and a chance to dry out and stay cool. Tight synthetics can quietly steal both. So this is the moment where I had a memory flash of my mom telling me to not stay in my wet swimsuit when I was little. I thought she just didn't want wet bottoms on the furniture, but it turns out maybe she knew something. And it's not only swimsuits. Think about a tight pair of leggings, synthetic underwear, a sports bra, compression shorts or shapewear, maybe slick pajamas. They can create a similar warm, damp, low airflow environment when they are worn too long. And that is not being crazy. That's your body responding to conditions that it's been sitting in. So we're going to untangle the word that's stamped on nearly every athletic wear tag. And my dad taught me this word because it came about in hunting clothes. Moisture wicking. Wicking is not the same thing as absorbing. It wicks away the moisture. So when cotton gets wet, it pulls moisture into the fiber itself and it holds it, which is why when a cotton t-shirt feels heavy and it stays wet, a wicking synthetic does something different. It moves moisture along the outside of the fiber and it spreads it across the surface of the shirt so it can evaporate faster, which is actually quite genius during a hard workout. So if you're running, hiking, playing tennis, lifting weights, or sweating through a class, you may want that sweat pulled away and spread out so it dries quickly. The problem is not the 1 hour workout. The problem is when that workout fabric becomes our breakfast to bedtime uniform. I laugh because it's my life. A fabric designed to shuttle moisture around can keep a faint layer of damp warmth moving across the skin instead of giving the skin a real chance to breathe and dry. So during a workout, that's performance all day long. It could become the greenhouse. And because synthetics often cling to body oils more stubbornly than natural fibers, many people notice that workout shirts and leggings, you ever notice how they keep odor even after you wash them? Fresh sweat is mostly salty water. The smell is actually coming from the bacteria that feed on the oils and the proteins in sweat. If we think about that, we talk about the deodorant episode that we talked about, that the smell that's coming from your arms or your body odor is actually the junk that's in your deodorant and the aluminum and stuff that's coming out. It's not actually your sweat. It's kind of crazy. So Polyester itself as a fabric is what we call oleophilic, which means it just loves oil. So it can hang on to the very oils that bacteria enjoy. That shirt that smells the moment you warm up or even straight out of the dryer may not be your problem. It may be an oil-loving plastic holding onto its meal problem. Yuck. I was aware that dry fit clothing, because that is the entirety of my family's wash, required a different kind of soap to clean the fibers that are created to wick that moisture because it's wicking moisture. It's not allowing that fiber to get clean. Or better yet, I learned to use vinegar, but it didn't register that it was a bacteria problem. And I'm not going to sit here, camp out here, because nobody needs a 20-minute sermon on laundry funk. But it does help explain why these fabrics behave differently on the skin and why my boys' laundry baskets reek to high heaven. Everything the kids own these days is dry fit because it feels better. We also know that contact reactions to dyes and finishes are a real thing. So some people react to dispersed dyes used to color polyester and other synthetics. Others react to formaldehyde resins used in some wrinkle-resistant or permanent press finishes. Yes, formaldehyde. That one got my attention too. So if you ever have bought a brand new shirt and it felt itchy or you broke out until maybe the third wash, that was not necessarily your imagination. Those surface residues, dyes, and finishing chemicals can irritate sensitive skin or trigger contact dermatitis, which is the medical word for an inflamed skin reaction. This is one reason washing your new clothes before you wear them really, really matters. That first wash can remove a large amount of loose dye, finishing residue, and manufacturing dust from the surface. I just always thought I was washing it away in case someone had tried it on before it got to me. So this is also why the words on clothing tags matter. Wrinkle-free, no iron, stain-resistant, water repellent, anti-odor, antimicrobial. There's a whole gamut of words that you'll see. So while they are convenient, they often signal extra treatments added to the fabric. Like I said, for the raincoat you wear outside in the rain, that's useful. For pajamas you sleep in at night, warm and close for 8 hours, I would pause and think a little bit harder about that. We're just going to be aware and pay more attention to what we're purchasing. So let's look a little bit into the emerging science. Some synthetic textiles can carry chemical additives that belong to families scientists are still studying for health concerns. Phthalates can show up in some plastic-feeling prints, logos, and coatings, and they're studied for potential effects on the endocrine or the hormone system. Certain water repellents and stain-proof finishes have historically used PFASs, often forever chemicals is what we call them, because they do not break down easily. We've mentioned that before. Antimony is a metal that is commonly used as a catalyst in polyester production, and small traces can remain in the finished fiber. Are we having fun yet, y'all? This is so exciting. So what we understand best about these chemical families usually comes from what we eat, breathe, and drink, maybe from our food packaging, our dust, or water and air, but clothing against the skin is a totally different question. Skin is a real route of exposure that we do not give enough credit to. That is why, if you think about it, a nicotine patch works. That's why medicated creams work. That is why this occlusion that doctors use matters. But the skin is also a selective barrier, and how much actually crosses depends on the chemical, the dose, the heat, the moisture, the friction, and certainly the length of time that it's in contact with your skin. So the fair scientific picture is not your leggings are poisoning you. It is not. There is definitely nothing to consider. It's a little bit in between. It's closer to the skin route is real, the everyday clothing route is still understudied, and warm, damp, sealed-in contact is exactly the type of condition that can increase interaction with the skin rather than decrease it. That is enough for me to make a few simple changes. It is not enough for me to tell you to throw away your closet, ever. I never do radical changes like that. But there is also a microplastic piece, which is still growing as an area of research. Synthetic fabrics shed tiny plastic microfibers into wash water. into the household dust, into your indoor air, into the environment around your bodies as they rub things, as they flex, and as we just kind of shed our skin. Researchers are finding microplastics in more places in the human body than we would have expected years ago. So, what that ultimately means for long-term health is still being studied. I would rather tell you plainly that we do not fully know yet than pretend to answer that this question is already closed. There is a concern. There is an uncertainty. We have to reduce at the highest contact exposures first. So this is where we just want to be really practical and not throw out our leggings and our favorite clothes. I would have no clothes in my closet. So if contact time, warmth, moisture, pressure, and sensitivity are the biggest issues, then it makes the most sense that the most important fabric in your life is probably not your winter coat that you wear over your clothes or your favorite jeans. It's the layer that sits closest to your skin in the most sensitive of places for most of the hours. Talking about underwear, bras, the waistband, possibly of your clothes, the seat of your leggings, base layers, the tight pajamas, anything that is pressed against warm, sensitive tissue with very little airflow. Those delicate areas of the body, on top of being tight and having tight fabric, they have thinner, more absorbent, more reactive skin than your forearm does. They are naturally warmer, they hold moisture, they do not get much air circulation. So when we wrap them in tight, non-breathable synthetics for long stretches of the day and night, we're concentrating all the concerns we just discussed into the exact places where the skin is the most receptive and least able to dry itself out. That can be part of why so many women quietly struggle with irritation and discomfort or never once connect it to the cute, cheap, stretchy synthetic underwear that they grabbed in a six-pack without thinking about it, or the cute, expensive, trendy strip mall clothing. We were buying what was available. Soft, pretty, sometimes affordable at Costco and easy, sometimes a splurge at Lulu. But once you see it, you can choose differently. The next piece we barely think of as clothing, even though your skin is pressed against it for roughly a third of your life, what you sleep in and what you sleep on. Your pajamas and sheets may matter more than the shirt that you threw on to run the errands. An errand shirt might touch you for maybe 2 hours while you move around in open air. Sleepwear and bedding wrap around you for 7 or 8 hours straight, warm, still, and close, night after night. So if you're looking for the most meaningful first swaps, the first way to make simple changes, start with your underwear, your bras or bra liners, sleepwear, and sheets. That is the highest impact zone. You do not need to throw away your entire wardrobe. Don't do it. I'm not doing it. That would be expensive, wasteful, and it would miss the heart of what we're doing. We're not trying to build a perfect closet in one weekend. We're learning to make better choices as things wear out and need replacing anyway. Start with the layer closest to your skin for the longest stretch of time. No pun intended on stretch. Underwear, bras, base layers, pajamas, and sheets. If you change nothing else in your closet, slowly moving these pieces towards breathable fibers gives you the biggest return for the least disruption. So what do you reach for instead? Cotton is the trustworthy classic, of course. It is breathable, affordable, easy to find, and a wonderful choice for everyday underwear, t-shirts, pajamas, and basics. Linen breathes beautifully in warm weather. It wrinkles if you look at it sideways, but that is also part of its charm. We are healing from wrinkle-free culture, one crumpled shirt at a time. Praise God. I'm very happy to be moving into a wrinkle society. Wool, especially merino wool, is excellent at regulating temperature and resisting odor, which makes it lovely for your socks, your base layers, and cold weather pieces. Silk is gentle, breathable, and kind to the sensitive skin, especially in intimate layers or sleepwear. Though it can be pricier and a little more delicate, it would be worth it. Then there are your wood-based fibers like tencel, lyocell, and modal. These are made from plant cellulose, often wood pulp, and they can feel smooth, breathable, and soft against your skin. And this is actually where I had to do a little bit of research because I was wondering why bamboo didn't make the top of the list. And bamboo needs a little bit of clarification because bamboo gets marketed as though it's a simple natural fiber. like cotton or linen. Most bamboo clothing is actually not raw bamboo woven into fabric. Surprise. It is usually bamboo viscose or bamboo rayon, which means the bamboo pulp has been chemically processed into a regenerated fiber. So that does not automatically make it bad because there's some good bamboo out there. Bamboo viscose can be soft and breathable, but it is not quite the untouched natural miracle that marketing sometimes make it sound like. So if you like the feel, look for better processing standards, that third-party certification when available, and be aware that lyocell or tensile-styled processes are generally considered cleaner than traditional viscose. The bigger principle here is simple. Look for fibers that allow airflow, manage moisture kindly, and sit gently against our skin, which are cotton, linen, wool, silk, and better wood-based fibers. And if a garment is mostly natural fiber with a tiny bit of stretch, don't overthink it. A pair of jeans that is 97% cotton and 3% elastane is still, practically speaking, a cotton garment against your skin. You're not chasing a perfect, holy 100% here. You're shifting the balance and educating yourself. So how to use your activewear wisely. So let's talk about those yoga pants that we all love and don't want to get rid of. I am not telling you to never wear synthetic activewear again. I am not going to do that to you, and I'm certainly not pretending I will never wear it again either. Synthetic workout clothing can be very useful for what it was designed to do. It can stretch, support, wick sweat, dry fast, and move with you during exercise. That is very real. The practical shift is wear it for the workout, then get out of it. So a 1-hour tennis match or strength workout in synthetic leggings is one thing. Wearing the same damp, tight leggings from morning coffee through errands, through work, through dinner, and then bedtime, you need to be rethinking. So if you love your leggings, keep them for the places where they will serve you well. Then give your skin a break when that activity is over. Change into your cotton joggers, loose linen pants, a breathable dress, cotton underwear, whatever works in your real life. This is not about becoming fancy. It is about not living inside compression plastic 12 hours a day. Compression plastic really gives it a new feeling, doesn't it? So let's learn real quick how to read a label and know what you're getting. So here's a habit that costs you nothing. Flip that tag over and read it, just like we do with our food or our lotion. Every garment is required to tell you what it is made of, and once you start reading those tags, you cannot stop noticing. It is like a light flips on in every single store. Look for the natural fiber words: cotton, wool, linen, silk. Look for regenerated plant fiber words: lyocell, tencel, modal, bamboo viscose, bamboo rayon. And then notice the synthetic family, which is polyester, nylon, acrylic, elastane, spandex. You do not have to memorize the chemistry textbook about all that. Just start recognizing the major families of fabric. Then look for the performance and finished words like wrinkle-free, no iron, stain-resistant, water-repellent, antimicrobial, anti-odor, more. There's so many more. Those may be useful in outerwear or specific gear. They deserve more caution in pajamas, underwear, bras, sheets, and anything that's going to be sensitive on the skin for longer hours. This is the same discernment that you're already using everywhere else in your house. You do not have to inspect every cracker. You have learned to glance at the ingredient list. Clothing can become the same kind of habit. A quick tag check, a little awareness, one better choice at a time. We're simply trying to decrease the load on our body. So beyond what you buy, a few simple rhythms can lower the irritation without costing much. Wash your brand new clothes before wearing them, especially your underwear, bras, pajamas, sheets, your workout clothes, anything for kids. That first wash helps remove that loose dye, surface finishes, and manufacturing residue. Change out of your damp workout clothes sooner rather than later. Please don't run 3 errands, answer emails, cook dinner, and marinate in those sweaty leggings until bedtime. And I say that with so much love because I do it all the time. So let your skin breathe when you can, loose clothing when you're at home, breathable sleepwear, and cotton underwear can give your skin a break without requiring your whole life to change. Maybe the nudist colonies had it right all along. Totally kidding. But Be thoughtful. Be thoughtful with your fabric softeners, your dryer sheets. I think we've talked about this, but we need to revisit all of that and anything with heavy fragrance in your laundry because those residues also sit against your skin. If you're already reacting, simplifying your laundry products may matter just as much as changing the fabric. It's a biggie. We've discussed some of it, but we'll continue to discuss more about that. Swap even vinegar for your softener and you will never ever go back. I promise you. It's cheap, it works, no dirty smells, it gets all of the stink out of your clothes, and you don't smell like vinegar. I promise. Air dry your clothing when possible. It can be gentler on the fabric and it may reduce some of that fiber shedding compared with that high heat drying. I have heard line dried laundry feels and smells fresher than anything, which I have never experienced, and I'm not sure how a clothesline would go over in my backyard, but I might consider it in my future move to the country. And when old synthetic pieces wear out, just replace them with the most important ones first with something breathable. That is the whole strategy. Don't go crazy. Don't get rid of everything. It's just replacing as you go. Just be steady. One little thing I wanted to pop here because it started reminding me of my kiddos is there's one more piece of history because it explains about why children's sleepwear is polyester, and we always hear about how it's flame retardant because decades ago, after heartbreaking accidents with children's clothing catching on fire, regulators required children's sleepwear to meet flammability standards. So manufacturers met that requirement in different ways. Some fabrics were treated with flame retardant chemicals. Yeah. Others used snug fitting synthetic designs that could pass the standard because they fit close to the body and were less likely to catch or hang loose near the flame. The safety intention behind those rules was very real and good. I would never wave that away. But it is simply worth understanding why tight polyester pajamas became so common for children. And once you know, you can make informed choices. Some families choose those snug-fitting cotton options that meet labeling requirements. Some prioritize the untreated natural fibers when possible. Some keep synthetic pajamas that they already own and wash them really, really well. The Sampler family, we can attest to a classic story of little boys' transformer underwear that were smoldering, yet never catching fire on my antler chandelier. Somehow, a pair of underwear made it to the second-story chandelier in my foyer, and smoke filled our house, fire trucks were on the way, and I glanced up in our foyer to catch a vision of what the smoke was coming from, the culprit. I'm not sure if the smoke and the smoldering was any better than the fire, but it was all traumatic, and we had burned transformer underwear that was melted onto the light bulbs of my chandelier. It's a great story that I laugh about now, not then. So just keep your eyes open. This is where I want to bring us back to the body. It's always going towards healing. Remember that we have detoxifiers naturally in our body. It's resilient, responsive, and wonderfully made with layers of protection and repair that we're still learning to understand. When scripture says we're fearfully and wonderfully made, that does not send me into panic over every fiber, finish, and tag. It calls me into care and to awareness because God did not design the body haphazardly. The skin barrier, the immune system, the microbiome, the way that we sweat, heal, cool, and respond, it's intricate. And when something has been entrusted to us with that much care, stewardship means caring for this incredibly healthy body that we have been gifted with. And I do mean a gift after recovering from so much illness. If you are healthy, it is a gift. Every good day of health is a gift to me. This simply means asking better questions. What's touching me the longest? Where is my skin most sensitive? Where am I trapping that heat and moisture every day? What can I change gently without turning my life upside down or wrecking my budget? In the same way I replace my skincare products with good ones when I run out of the old, just start replacing new clothing with natural fiber clothing versus synthetic fiber as styles change and clothes wear out. The goal is not perfection. It is, once again, reducing the load on our bodies. And before you know it, you'll look back and realize that you've made some real progress. One drawer, one tag, one pair of cotton underwear, one set of sheets, and then all of a sudden, those things add up. So here's where we've landed together. The clothes pressed against your skin, especially the closest, most delicate, longest worn layers, deserve the same gentle attention you already give your food, your skincare, and your home products. The sky is not falling because contact time matters, because warmth and moisture make a difference. And synthetic fibers have behaved differently than natural fibers. And some finishes and additives deserve a little bit of attention and discernment. And the science is always, always still unfolding. Start where it counts. That underlayer, anything that touches your skin all the time, read your tags, wash new clothes first, use activewear for activity, let old synthetics wear out, and when they do, replace the highest contact pieces with something that breathes. This has opened your eyes even half as much as it has opened mine. Share it with one friend, the one like me who lives in her leggings. She may side-eye you and think you're crazy at first, and she may also text you from Target later asking which underwear to buy. And that is a true friend. I will leave you with this. Taking care of your body that you were given is not one more impossible thing to add to the checklist. Notice just that one thing maybe that can fix you. Change one thing when you're ready. No pressure. Just be aware and let the rest wait. I will be right here with you working on my wardrobe. Until next time, we're going to be checking out our labels all week long, I'm sure, together. I hope you have a great week.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you've enjoyed today's episode, hit that follow button, leave a 5-star review if you're so willing, and help spread the message of Becoming Natural by sharing it with a friend. Check out the resources in the show notes and join the email list to stay on top of all the latest and greatest happenings at Becoming Natural as we roll out exciting new things while we grow. Until next time, take those baby steps to a more natural life and always give yourself grace. Progress, not perfection, is the goal. See you next week.